Are human races real, or did we invent them? You've heard it all. Humans are divided into races. Some races are more advanced. Science proves differences. But what if I told you that biology says race doesn't exist, while society treats it as if it does? Today, we're going to break down the science, the history, and the myths behind human races. And trust me, what you're about to learn will change the way you see humanity. Let's begin with the most important fact. Humans are 99.9% genetically identical. That tiny 0.1% is where all human variation comes from. Skin color, hair type, eye shape, everything. But here's the shocker. There is more genetic difference inside a so-called race than between races. Two people from sub-Saharan Africa may be genetically more different from each other than either is from a person in Europe or Asia. Human variation doesn't come in boxes. It's a gradient. What scientists call a cline. As you move across the Earth, genes change slowly, not suddenly. And the traits we use to see race, like skin color, are controlled by a handful of genes, not the whole genome. Skin color evolved multiple times as an adaptation to sunlight, not as a marker of deep human separation. So if races aren't biological, where did the idea even come from? To answer that, we need to go back to the 17th to 19th centuries, the age of empire, colonization, and slavery. European scientists and philosophers began categorizing people by physical traits. They drew up racial hierarchies and claimed some groups were more civilized than others. But these systems weren't based on biology. They were built to justify colonization, slavery, and exploitation. By the 19th century, scientific racism was everywhere. Skull measurements, fake IQ theories, eugenics, all of them have been completely debunked. But the categories they created, black, white, Asian, Mongoloid, Negroid, stuck. They became part of censuses, laws, and identity. That's why race feels real, even though it's based on old political decisions, not science. Now here's the paradox. Biology says race isn't real, but society makes it real every single day. Race shapes how people are treated, who gets opportunities, who is over-policed, who gets hired, and whose culture is valued. Governments use racial categories to track discrimination. Communities use them for identity and solidarity. Racism gives racial lines power, not genetics. So yes, race is real in its social consequences, but that doesn't mean humans are biologically divided into races. It means society created these categories and people live inside them. Let's clear up some common mistakes. Mistake number 1. Some races have unique diseases. In reality, diseases are linked to ancestry and environment, not race. Sickle cell disease, for example, isn't an African trait. It's an adaptation to malaria, also found in parts of the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and India. Mistake number 2. Race can be determined from DNA. No, DNA can tell you about ancestry, not race. An ancestry test might say 20% West African, 10% Scandinavian. You'll never see you are 100% black in your genome. Mistake number 3. People look very different, so they must be different genetically. Visible features don't reflect overall genetic similarity. Many populations with very different faces or skin colors share more DNA than you'd expect. So, if race isn't biological, is anything? Yes. But scientists use different words: ancestry, ethnic groups, populations, lineages. These describe real patterns of human migration and evolution. For example, human groups adapted to UV radiation, different climates, different diseases, different diets. But these adaptations never formed rigid biological races, just populations shaped by geography, history, and mixing. And the mixing is constant. Humans have always interbred across boundaries. So, do human races exist? Not in biology, but they absolutely exist in society. The categories we use today were invented for political and economic reasons, and we still live with them. Understanding this doesn't erase differences. It helps us see humanity more clearly. We're one species, one family, with a long shared history, and the lines we draw between us say more about society than about science. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more deep dives into history, science, and the human story.